Hi folks, this is Shane here from Living a New Dream. We're going to do something a little different here. We're going to take a break from our regular scheduled programming, Meteor Crater, which is coming up in the near future. This video, however, I'm going to talk about hill climbing, and more specifically hill climbing in a Ram with a Cummins 6.7 liter turbo diesel. The engine produces 370 horsepower and 800 foot-pounds of torque. And I'm going to show you some footage here of the Ram as it's towing our 2019 Chaparral 392 MBL. This is this trailer has a GVWR, and it's probably right at that limit since we live in the trailer of around 14,500 pounds. So you're going to see some footage here of our truck pulling that fifth wheel up and down the mountains and how well it reacts. Notice that the trees have been getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and now we're in pine trees. I'm gonna talk about that. So here we are, still on Highway 87, and what we're really getting the scene here is I'm doing a lot of climbing in the mountains. And I have not touched my brake pedal at all in the mountains. What you're hearing right now is the engine brake, and it's engaged, and it is keeping the vehicle from going too fast. So it holds it at a steady 50 mile an hour down the mountain, down hills, and then when I step on the throttle at the bottom of the hill and start to climb again, that turbo that was being used in reverse to sort of cause the exhaust gases to come back up into the exhaust system and compress on the piston, or now the turbo's spooled up and using that same exhaust system to pressurize the intake system and build power to climb the hill. So, you know, this is a really cool thing about a diesel is you can make power in both directions, for braking and the engine brake, or for boosting and climbing, for climbing hills. And here you can hear it back on the engine brake again. And heading down this hill. Now back on the throttle again. So we're back. Now we're back to turbo boost as we start to climb. And this is a really nice way to tow trailers with a diesel truck, because it's just so well equipped for climbing and for going downhill as well. And like I said, I've only barely tapped my brake, like that one turn, just to slow it down.
It feels safer going downhill.
Yeah, it does. It feels a lot safer. You're much more in control of your load, you know, with a setup like this. And it is more expensive, and you know, sometimes it's difficult. But maybe instead of a newer gasoline version of it, maybe a used diesel truck. That allows you to have these features. These aren't features that you'll find in a gasoline engine. Oh, the turbo you might, but not the engine brake system. Yeah. And in this mode, as soon as I let off the gas pedal, it immediately engages the Jake brakes. The drawback to that is you can't coast. So there's no coasting, which sometimes you might want to do. So here, I'm going to apply a little bit more brakes as I want to slow this down some, because I don't want to throw my stuff around in the trailer. So now I'm off the brake pedal, and we're just on Jake's only. And as you can see, I'm continuing to slow down. I'm now down to 30 mile an hour, and I'm having to step on the throttle a little bit because the engine brakes has now slowed the vehicle down, you know, too slow. So start getting people behind you, start getting impatient.
The speed limit's 30 right here.
Actually, that's a suggested sign. That's yellow. I'm going to let the people behind me go by. So I'm just going to give these guys. There's a crowd behind me that want to go a little faster. So I'm just going to let them go. And then I'll just get back out. clouds are for. Let the faster.
Saying thank you.
Yep, he's letting me know. They want to go down a little faster, so.
Yeah.
The engine brakes on the diesel, I never have to worry about overheating the brakes. I hardly use them. I've only briefly touched them a few times. Like I just briefly touched it, just briefly going into that turn, and now I'm on the engine brakes, and now it's time to speed up. Whereas with the half ton, I would have to use a lot more brake pedal to come down this mountain. All right, here we are in Payson, Arizona. You've been seeing some of the journey down toward Payson from Winslow, and we've been traveling down Highway 87 the whole time. And you've noticed that the landscape changes dramatically. It'll be high desert, and then you'll notice the trees start to grow bigger, and junipers will grow bigger and bigger and bigger, and then suddenly you'll be in tall pines, and then as you go back down, the trees will shrink in size again. And you notice it's not just the landscape that changes, but even the weather. It's like it was no clouds in the sky, or very few, and then all of a sudden we get way up high and it's raining. And this is a nice, really neat thing about Arizona's very diverse landscape. So now what I want to show you is I'm going to do a time lapse, and we're going to drive from Payson down into Mesa, Arizona. You're going to see literally the landscape change dramatically in less than the span of an hour. Up there, that is a hill climb, and this is the reason you want a Dodge Ram or some form of 1 ton or 3/4 ton truck with a turbo diesel, because this is quite a grade. I think this is about 6%, and it's probably going to go up about 3,000 feet, 4,000 feet, and a gasoline tow under the trailer. This is where my old gasoline truck would just about explode. Alright, so you can see my gas mileage so far through the mountains, about 11.1 miles per gallon. That's like phenomenal. I mean, my gasoline truck would get about 8. And so we're starting our ascent up the mountain. And you notice that the RPMs are, they're about 1,800 right now. Haven't really started to pull too hard. This hill may not be the really big one. I don't know. I always get confused with which one. I think this is the fake out hill. It makes you think it's the big one, but it's not really the big one.
It's the fake big one?
It's the fake big one, yeah. So there's actually another hill after this one.
Yeah, that wasn't much.
Yeah, that's not much.
Okay.
That wasn't much.
Wrong hill. Wrong mountain.
Alright. That's the big hill right there. So I'm going to adjust my speed up a little bit. And I'm just going to set the cruise. Set the cruise at about 63, and there we go. This is you're gonna see like spots in the pavement that are like blacked out from cars that caught fire trying to climb this hill. And I remember back in the days when we had a house, we had a half ton that would just like work itself to death to climb this thing, pulling a travel trailer. Now we're gonna climb it in our Cummins with our 5th wheel there back behind us. It's got multiple turns, and it's a pretty steep climb. And it's the last hill before you go down into Mesa. See if it'll downshift. So we're about 1,800 RPM right now. about part ways up the hill. There we go. She's downshifted. I think that's about 4th, around $2,000. And you can see behind us we got the 5th wheel.
And a bunch of snacks.
And a bunch of snacks. Oh yeah. Almost like you're climbing right up into the sky. We're holding steady about 56 miles an hour.
I didn't catch what % grade this is.
Yeah, I don't remember what % grade this is. I think it's 6, but it might be 7%. Keeping her speed around 55. So again, I just have the cruise set, and it's just, I don't think it's floored, but it's doing what it can to keep it around 55, pulling our rig. And we're just cresting up the top of it here. So you can see we're coming up to the top now. And you'll be able to see the valley down below just as we cross it here. Alright, so I'm going to back off on the throttle here and just let it shift up as we start downhill. Another cool thing is, you know, now I'm using the engine braking, so my foot's not on the brake pedal. It's just relying on the engine brakes, keeping me around 50 miles an hour. And I'll step into a little bit of gas to make it stop using the engine brakes because I'm going down a little too slowly. So I'm going to go ahead and set the cruise again. Actually, I'm going to set it about 56 miles an hour. So that's good speed. Then I'll throw around all my stuff back there. Alright, well, I noticed that there was new pavement going up that mountain, and I didn't see the burnt circles from all the cars that have literally caught fire climbing that mountain, climbing that hill in the past. They've done some work to it. So I didn't see the burn marks. But that hill has claimed many, many motors and more than a few cars. And that's it. So you can see from Payson to the valley, what a huge landscape change. You know, from up there you saw pines and trees in abundance. It's about 15 to 20 degrees cooler. And then down here, it's desert and saguaro cactus, and it's actually right now it looks a lot greener than normal. They've had a lot of rain lately, so normally this is a lot browner.
Yeah.
In the years past, it's much browner. So you're still seeing it fairly green because they had an unusual amount of rain. And we're just going to keep working our way into Mesa. So if you're traveling from Interstate 40 and you're going to get into the valley, I-17 is one way to do it. But you can, if you're going to the east side, you can take 87 down. You can go through Holbrook and take, was it 277 or 377 down to 260, and then that through Payson. There's lots of ways from the northern part of Arizona down to the southern part that you don't necessarily have to take I-17 down. Sometimes that's a hard interstate to take because it's got a lot of windy paths, a lot of windy twists, and if there's an accident at all or a vehicle, even literally a disabled vehicle, it can back it up quickly for miles. So often I will take 87 down or 260 and come through Payson, and you know, it's lighter traffic, and yep, it's probably a bit more mountainous and slower. But if you're going to the east side, if you're going to Tempe or Mesa or Chandler or Gilbert or Scottsdale, 87, in my opinion, is probably the best route